If you prefer to score boxing by the eye test, or depends on what you like, or even one real scoring criterion, but you pick the most convenient one each time, this video is not for you. But if you demand to know once and for all who really won boxing's most popular and controversial fights based on a standardized, repeatable system that incorporates a painstaking attention to tracking every detail of every round, you're in the right place. I slow it way down, turn off the sound, and go far beyond just punch counts to categorize all of the action into the 4 criterion that really matter in scoring boxing: clean punching, effective aggression, ring generalship, and defense. So we end up with an exhaustively researched, defensible answer to the question on everyone's mind: who really won? Today we break down Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. So of course this fight wasn't close on the scorecards, so the question today is not who really won, but rather, did Teofimo Lopez actually deserve to win?
1 round, maybe 2?
Or should it have been a total shutout? And moreover, how many of the rounds were actually closer than fans gave them credit for? Let's start with round 1, and you'll notice right away I've made my algorithm way more robust. I'm going to glance through these numbers quickly, but feel free to pause your screen and look at the various trending charts and all of the many nuances that I'm now measuring to make the algorithm I'm scoring who really won way more accurate. Clean punching in round 1, 10 landed by Shakur Stevenson out of 28 thrown, and 4 out of 89 for Teofimo Lopez. You see here at which point in the round they all happened, and as we go to the scoring, that'll be 10-8 clean punching in favor of Shakur Stevenson. Effective aggression. So I'm now measuring unforced misses, meaning the fighter missed a shot not by any defense done by the other guy just because he missed. I'm also counting non-punching aggressive moves and putting thrown punches and those non-punching aggressive moves together into a total aggressive attempts count that we use in the effective aggressiveness score. In round 1, effective aggression 45.3% to Shakur Stevenson, to a negative score for Teofimo Lopez, not effective at all. Effective aggression 10-7 Shakur Stevenson. I've enhanced ring generalship to not only count the effective aggression in the calculation and the defensive moves done by the other fighter, but also proactive clinching, so clinching to establish control, not to defend yourself against an onslaught, and what I'm calling momentum shifts, which could be a slip and counter or anything like that where you stop a plan in progress from the other guy with your own successful plan. I give a little extra credit for that. Taking all those things together, Shakur Stevenson outdoes Teofimo Lopez by about 13 points in ring generalship, and therefore he wins ring generalship 10-9 in round 1. Here are all the defensive moves done by both fighters in round 1 to avoid punches or aggressive movements, and I categorize them now into those that make the other person completely miss, those that make the person miss not completely, like they might graze them anyway and you get less credit for that, or those moves that make them totally reset their whole strategy and you get a little extra points for that. So you'll see them all broken out here. If we categorize all those things together, it's 10-8 for defense in favor of Shakur Stevenson. I'm now also tracking a detailed foul list, so none by any guy in round 1, that's why you see all zeros here, but you will see some later in the fight, so pay attention to the fouls counter. And when we take all those things into consideration, Shakur Stevenson ends up beating Teofimo Lopez in round 1 by a wide margin, 10 points on the algorithm to 7.967, 10-9 in round 1 to Shakur Stevenson. And as we go through this fight, I will, as always, be comparing my running score to that of the 3 judges at ringside. They are Max DeLuca, Eric Marlinsky, and Steve Weisfeld, all of whom had this round 10-9 Shakur Stevenson. Clean punching in round 2, Shakur Stevenson lands 13 of 34, and Teofimo Lopez lands 8 of 88. Teofimo Lopez's thrown punches count is going to be really high because he throws a lot of what I call garbage punches. They're made to distract, or made to never intend to land, or made to just get Shakur Stevenson looking over there while he gets ready to do something else, but they are thrown punches, so they do need to be counted. You'll see both trending for thrown punches and trending for landed punches here on your screen, and clean landed punches goes 10-9 to Shakur Stevenson in round 2. Effective aggression, lots more unforced misses by Teofimo Lopez than Shakur Stevenson, and a lot of them, again, because of those garbage punches he throws. I have little trending charts here for you for unforced misses and for non-punching aggressive moves as well. Taking all those parameters into consideration, Shakur Stevenson decimates Teofimo Lopez on effective aggression, 54.5% to 19%, and therefore effective aggression goes goes 10-8 to Shakur Stevenson. Ring generalship, 1 proactive clinch for Teofimo and 3 momentum shifts for Shakur Stevenson. Taking that into consideration with the other pieces of the formula, Shakur edges out ring generalship 52.4% to 47.6%, and therefore he gets ring generalship 10-9. Here's all the defensive moves, again broken down by the 3 categories, and if we categorize those, defense goes to Shakur Stevenson 10-9. Taking a look at fouls for round 2, I couldn't find any to note here, so again an empty chart, and if we take all of that information together, the algorithm gave 10 points to Shakur Stevenson and 8.733 points to Teofimo Lopez in round 2, a comfortable win in round 2, 10-9 for Shakur Stevenson. And I now have this fight 20-18. All 3 judges at ringside also gave that round to Shakur Stevenson and also have it 20-18 Shakur Stevenson. Clean punches in round 3 were 17 of 40 for Shakur Stevenson, a great percentage for him, and only 7 out of 80 for Teofimo Lopez, only 8.8%. And again, you see the trend charts here. Clean punching, 10-8 Shakur Stevenson. Effective aggression. In this round, we had 7 unforced misses by Stevenson and 21 by Lopez. You see the running totals next to there. 14 in the fight so far for Stevenson and 62 for Lopez already. Non-punching aggressive moves, they were about even, 11 for Shakur and 12 for Teo. And then if you take all that information together, effective aggression goes wide in favor of Shakur Stevenson, 63.7% to 25.3%. Effective aggression, 10-8 Shakur Stevenson. Ring generalship. In this case, we had 1 proactive clinch by Shakur, 1 momentum shift by Shakur, and none by Teo. Taking that together with the effective aggression and defense parameters, ring generalship goes to Shakur Stevenson, 53.3 to 46.7%. And so ring generalship is 10-9 in our algorithm, Shakur Stevenson. Again, here is the matrix of all the defense that happened in this round by both guys and how they got categorized. If we take a look at it all together, it's 10-8 Shakur Stevenson for defense. Taking a look at the fouls in round 3, again, thus far, a clean fight. And if we take all of that information together, the algorithm gave 10 points to Shakur Stevenson and 8.233 points to Teofimo Lopez. If we normalize that, it's a very comfortable win in round 3 for Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. And I now have the fight 30-27. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Round 4, clean punching. Shakur Stevenson lands 18 of 42 in this round, and Teofimo Lopez 10 of 91. Clean punching, 10-9 Shakur Stevenson. Effective aggression. 2 unforced misses by Shakur and 27 by Teofimo Lopez. The non-punching aggressive moves, 7 for Shakur and 12 for Teo. And if we take all of that information together, we have Shakur outdoing Teofimo Lopez in effective aggression, 44.9% to 35.4%. Take a quick look at these trending graphs as you see them continue to build over the rounds. Effective aggression, 10-9 Shakur Stevenson. Ring generalship. In this round, we had 1 proactive clinch by Teofimo Lopez and 1 momentum shift by Teofimo, none by Shakur. The ring generalship, taking those parameters into consideration, goes to Teofimo Lopez, 52.4% to 47.6%. And therefore, Teofimo gets ring generalship 10-9 in this round. Again, here's all the defensive moves done in round 4 and how they categorized into partial deflections, complete or causing complete resets. And if we categorize them together, you end up with a 10-8 score in this category of defense in favor of Shakur Stevenson. Let's have a look at the fouls, and again, no fouls to speak of so far through 4, so a clean fight so far. Taking all that information into consideration, we have our first close round. The algorithm gave 9.767 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.033 points to Teofimo Lopez. Not razor thin, but relatively close round compared to the others, but still in favor of Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. And I now have the fight 40-36, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Round 5, clean punching. In this round, Shakur lands 10 of 42 punches. Down a bit in his percentage so far in this fight, but Teofimo Lopez landing only 13 of 92 punches, only 14% landed for him. However, Teo landing more punches, so clean punching goes to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Effective aggression. 2 unforced misses by Shakur Stevenson in this round, but 24 by Teofimo Lopez. The non-punching aggressive moves, 2 by Shakur and 17 by Teo. Shakur generally more patient and reactive in the fight so far, whereas Teo's trying to make things happen more often, although with mixed results on effectiveness, as you see in the effective aggression score. However, he does slightly outdo Shakur in this round, 29.4% to 20.5%. Effective aggression, 10-9, Teofimo Lopez. Ring generalship. A couple of proactive clinches by Teo and a bunch of momentum shifts by Teo, none by Shakur Stevenson, and therefore in this category, Teofimo Lopez takes ring generalship, 10-9. Here's all the defensive moves done in round 5, and if we categorize them all together, defense once again goes to Shakur Stevenson. It's a 10-9 defensive score. Let's have a look at the foul counter, and here we have finally a few, and they're all by Shakur. So we had a kidney punch by Shakur, we had hitting on the break by Shakur, and we had the use of the elbow or forearm by Shakur. Now, how do I judge fouls? I do soft warnings for the first 3 infractions on one type a foul, then I do 2 hard warnings, then I start deducting points. 1 point, 2 point deducted, and 3 points means you're disqualified. So it's actually pretty generous in terms of what I allow. However, there are limits, and we do want to deduct points when they need to be deducted. Taking all that information together, again, a relatively close round, but not razor thin, but this time it's in favor of Teofimo Lopez. 9.8 points on the algorithm to 9.2, so it's a 10-9 round in round 5 to Teofimo Lopez. And I now have the fight, 49-46, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Round 6, clean punching. In this round, Shakur lands 12 of 42 punches, and Teo lands 14 of 77 punches. Clean punching is going to go to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Effective aggression. Shakur Stevenson with only 6 unforced misses and Teofimo Lopez with 23 of them. Non-punching aggressive moves, 4 for Shakur and 15 for Teo. If we take that stuff all together, the algorithm gave 28.3% on effective aggression to Shakur, not very effective at all in this round, and 43.8% to Teofimo Lopez, a decent score for him. And therefore, effective aggression goes to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Ring generalship. In this round, 3 proactive clinches by Teofimo Lopez and 1 momentum shift, 6 momentum shifts for Shakur Stevenson. However, ring generalship edged by Teofimo Lopez 55.6% to 44.6%, and therefore ring generalship goes to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Here's the matrix of defensive moves that were done in round 6 and how they were broken down into their effectiveness. And if we categorize them into the different kinds of defense here, we end up with an aggregate score of 10-9 in favor of Shakur Stevenson once again for defense. Taking a look at the foul counters, we do have one new one hitting on the break by Shakur at 203 in this round, and that was the only foul by either guy in round 6. And if we take all that information together, the algorithm gave 9.2 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.8 points to Teofimo Lopez. Again, fairly close, but not razor-thin close for round 6, and it is in favor of Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. So I now have the fight, 58-56, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. As we're 6 rounds through, drop a comment below and let me know how you had this fight scored going through 6, because from what I've heard, the round or 2 that people may or may not have given to Teofimo Lopez were not the ones that I chose. Clean punching in round 7, Shakur lands 15 of 36 punches, and Teofimo Lopez lands 11 of 89. Again, a great disparity in the percentage landed, but clean punching goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Effective aggression. Only 2 unforced misses for Shakur Stevenson and 20 for Teofimo Lopez. Non-punching aggressive moves, 12 for Shakur and 11 for Teo, really close. And if we take all that information together, the algorithm gave effective aggression to Shakur Stevenson about 46% to 35. Effective aggression, 10-9, Shakur Stevenson. Let's take a look at ring generalship. So we had no proactive clinches by either guy, 2 momentum shifts by Shakur and 3 by Teofimo. Teofimo Lopez gets ring generalship 53% to 47, and therefore it's ring generalship 10-9 Teofimo Lopez. Here's the matrix of all the defensive moves that happened in round 7 and how effective they were, and if we categorize them all together into the different kinds of defense, again, Shakur Stevenson wins defense 10-9 in round 7. Let's take a look at our foul counter. One by Shakur, a kidney punch at 207. We gotta start watching out now because they're starting to pile up. But when we take all that information together, the algorithm gave 9.767 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.233 points to Teofimo Lopez. A fairly close but not razor-thin round, however, in favor of Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. And I now have the fight, 68-65, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Having a look at the clean punches in round 8, the trend continues with Shakur Stevenson landing 11 of 27 and Teofimo Lopez landing 14 of 108 thrown punches. A lower percentage, which is reflected in the other categories, but as far as clean punching, he lands more. Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Effective aggression. In this round, no unforced misses by Shakur Stevenson, 0, and 26 by Teofimo Lopez. Non-punching aggressive moves, 10 by Stevenson, 16 by Lopez. Effective aggression goes by a wide margin to Shakur Stevenson. Ring generalship, 1 proactive clinch by Teofimo Lopez and 2 momentum shifts, none by Shakur Stevenson in either of those categories. Ring generalship is edged by Teofimo Lopez in this round, 54% to 46%, and therefore Teofimo Lopez takes ring generalship 10-9. Let's talk defense, and here are all the defensive moves that were done in round 8 to avoid punches or aggressive moves. If we categorize them into which type of defensive move was done and aggregate it all together, defense goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-8. And let's look at the foul counter. We had one by Shakur Stevenson, the use of the elbow and forearm at 242 in the round, so he's got 2 of those in the fight so far. Taking all that information together, the algorithm gave 9.467 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.333 points to Teofimo Lopez. This one was razor thin close, but the algorithm gave it to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. And I now have the fight 78-74, Shakur Stevenson, and all 3 judges agreed that round 8 went to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9, and it's the only round they gave him in this whole fight. Round 9, clean punching. In this round, Shakur Stevenson lands 14 of 44 punches and Teofimo Lopez 12 of 83. Shakur with the better percentage and the more clean-landed punches, so clean punching goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Effective aggression. In this round, 6 unforced misses for Shakur Stevenson, but 14 for Teofimo Lopez. Non-punching aggressive moves, only 4 for Shakur and 14 for Teo. Taking all that together, Shakur Stevenson wins the effective aggression score, 36% to 27%. And so effective aggression goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. For ring generalship, we had no proactive clinches by either fighter and 1 momentum shift by either one. Taking that together with the effective aggression and defensive information that we have, ring generalship edges to Teo 52% to 48%. And therefore, Teofimo Lopez gets ring generalship, 10-9. Here are all the defensive moves done in round 9, and again, how effective they were, and if we categorize them all together, defense goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Having a look at the running foul counter, we had holding and hitting by Shakur Stevenson in this round, and a low blow by Teofimo Lopez in this round, so 1 foul each. And then again, if we take all this data together, the algorithm gave 9.767 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.233 points to Teofimo Lopez. Shakur Stevenson takes round 9, 10-9. And I now have this fight 88-83, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Round 10, clean punching. Shakur Stevenson lands 16 of 36 punches, a great percentage for him, and Teofimo Lopez 11 of 97 for only 11% landed punches. Again, Shakur with a greater percentage and more landed punches. Clean punching 10-9, Shakur Stevenson. Effective aggression. In this round, 5 unforced misses by Shakur Stevenson and 23 by Teofimo Lopez. 5 non-punching aggressive moves by Shakur and 20 by Teo. But taking all that data together, Shakur Stevenson easily wins effective aggression, 45.7% to 31.8%, and he wins that category 10-9. Ring generalship. Teofimo Lopez edges out ring generalship by taking the momentum shifts and proactive clinches together with the effective aggression and defensive moves that happened in this round. He generally controlled a greater percentage of the round, and therefore, ring generalship goes to Teofimo Lopez, 10-9. Again, here are all the defensive moves that happened in round 10 and how effective they were at different times throughout the round, and if we categorize them together into what type of defensive move they were and aggregate it, Shakur Stevenson runs away with defense in this round, 10-7. Taking a look at the running foul counter, we had 1 more foul, an elbow, forearm by Shakur Stevenson in this round, nothing by Teo. And if we take all that data together, the algorithm gave 9.767 points to Shakur Stevenson and 8.833 points to Teofimo Lopez. A comfortable win in round 10 for Shakur Stevenson. And I now have the fight 98-92, Shakur Stevenson. All 3 judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Clean punching in round 11, Shakur lands 20 of 51 punches, again 39.2% respectable, and Teofimo Lopez ratcheting up the thrown punches to 117. Again, counting all the ones that weren't necessarily intending to land, 117 thrown punches and 13 landed. Clean punching goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Effective aggression. 8 unforced misses for Shakur in this round, that's high for him, but 34 by Teofimo Lopez. 12 non-punching aggressive moves by Shakur and also by Teo. And if we take all that together, a wide margin of victory in effective aggression in favor of Shakur Stevenson, around 59% to around 27%, and therefore Shakur takes it 10-8. Ring generalship. In round 11, ring generalship was even 50-50, believe it or not, so Teofimo Lopez had a proactive clinch and Shakur did not, and he had more momentum shifts than Shakur, but Shakur made it up with the huge gap in effective aggression, which is part of the calculation for ring generalship among these other things. So again, 50-50 on ring generalship, both men get 10 points. Let's talk defense, and here are all the defensive moves done in this round and when they were done and how effective they were, and if we categorize them into what type of defensive moves they were and aggregate them together, Shakur Stevenson takes defense 10-8. Taking a look at the running foul counter, we did not have any new fouls by either man in round 11, And so we take all of that data together and see that the algorithm gave 10 points to Shakur Stevenson in round 11 and 8.767 points to Teofimo Lopez. Shakur won every category in round 11 and therefore wins this round comfortably, 10-9. And I now have the fight 108-101 Shakur Stevenson. All three judges at ringside gave this round to Shakur Stevenson 10-9. Take a few seconds to drop a comment right now on how you have this fight going into the last round, and while you're at it, click that subscribe button. It'll take you 1 second while you're leaving your comment. I really appreciate it. Round 12, the final round. Clean punching in this round was 12 of 30 for Shakur and 15 of 118 for Teofimo Lopez. You gotta hand it to him for trying. He's really throwing a lot of punches here. And does land more of them, so clean punching goes to Teofimo Lopez 10-9. Effective aggression. This is where all the missing bites him back, though. Shakur Stevenson wins effective aggression by a wide margin, 41% to 25%, and again, that's because of this great disparity in unforced misses, where Teofimo has 25 and Shakur has 3. And so effective aggression goes to Shakur Stevenson, 10-9. Let's have a look at ring generalship in the last round. So we had quite a few momentum shifts by Shakur Stevenson, 5 of them to only 1 for Teofimo. Teo had 1 proactive clinch as well, trying to control pace. And if we take those together, Teo outdoes Shakur 53.3% to 46.7%, and so ring generalship goes to Teofimo Lopez in round 12, 10-9. Let's talk defense, and here are all the defensive moves, again, done in round 12 to avoid punches or aggressive moves, and you see a lot more for Shakur than you do for Teo. If we categorize them into what each type of defensive move was and then take that aggregate, Shakur Stevenson wins defense 10-8 in this round. So let's have another look at that running foul counter, and we did have a few in the last round. So we had the use of the elbow or forearm by Shakur Stevenson once again, and then Teofimo Lopez with 2 kidney punches. So the whole fight ends up with Shakur Stevenson sort of in a state of hard warning, and Teofimo in a state of soft warning overall with the fouls that they committed in this fight. So neither had a point deducted on my card, and again, taking all that data together, the algorithm gave 9.467 points to Shakur Stevenson and 9.333 points to Teofimo Lopez. This one was razor close as well, but the algorithm gave it to Shakur Stevenson 10-9. And now the time has come, the time we've all been waiting for, the time we all find out. Regardless of the judge's decision, did Teofimo Lopez get totally shut out and blown away by Shakur Stevenson? And the answer is, he did not. Teofimo Lopez did in fact deserve to win 2 rounds. I had it 118-110 Shakur Stevenson. But wait, we had a second question. The second question was not only how many rounds did Teo deserve to win, but how close were the other ones? And let's have a look at that. And in fact, rounds 4 through 9 and round 12 were somewhat varying degrees of close. So the narrative going on about Teofimo got totally blown out in this fight, number of rounds wise, yes, and that's how you score a fight. Who won more rounds? By that, he lost by 8 points, 118-110 on my card. But by how close and how competitive was he in each round, the story's much closer than the round total, as you can see here. So speaking of which, are any of these rounds close enough that they could have been scored the other way? Well, yeah, 2 of them were, round 8 and round 12, both of which I gave to Shakur Stevenson. So if we had scored that the other way, then you would have had the fight 116-112 Shakur Stevenson. Any way you look at it, Shakur wins this fight comfortably, but although I feel like Teo deserved 2 rounds in this fight, 2 other rounds were close enough that they could be arguable. So that brings us to the question, how did the judges do in their scoring of this fight? Well, really good compared to other fights that I've scored. You could argue Shakur made it easier to score than other fighters make it, but they all had it 119-109, being off by only 1 round, so very good scoring for the judges in this fight. Silver star for you. And as we wrap it up for today, let's have a look at some fight totals. Again, as I mentioned, I have a lot more data to share for you here. Pause the screen and read it to your heart's content, but I show you here totals, the average, the maximum, and the minimum for punches thrown, punches landed, unforced misses, aggressive moves, and then an overall effective aggression average where Shakur Stevenson wins by a wide margin, about 45% to 26.5%, and ring generalship where Teo slightly outdoes him, 51.5% to 48.5%. But putting together these 2 categories with the other 2 where Shakur won defense handily and won clean punching pretty handily, that tells the story of why he won this fight by such a wide margin. So I know my videos take 2 weeks plus to put together, but now you see why. It's because I'm watching them them over and over in super slow motion to gather thousands of data points to show you during these videos, so you can hopefully get something you don't get anywhere else. If you want technique breakdowns or predictions, there are other channels that do that way better than I do. What I do as a profession is analytics. What I want to bring here is a standardized analytics-based system that works the same way every time and is defensible when you want to tell your best friends who really won boxing's most controversial and popular fights. And if you got any value out of this video, take 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel now and turn on the bell for notifications. Appearing on your screen are 2 links. The one on the left is another detailed Who Really Won video, and the one on the right is my algorithm explained so you can learn to score like a pro. Catch you again next time.